Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick look at two new books that I picked up. Both are kind of companions to the classic consoles that Nintendo released over the last 2 years. One is the Playing with Power for the NES Classics, and the other one is Playing with Super Power for the Super Nintendo Classic. And there's just a quick shot of both of the books next to the mini consoles. And let's go ahead and dive in. Let's take a quick look at both of the books. I'll give just a brief review and my thoughts, and just let you guys know what I think of these. Okay, so here are both of the books. I actually got both of these off of Amazon. They're fairly inexpensive for how nice they are. They're about $25 each. First, let's go ahead and let's take a brief look at the original one, the NES Classic. So this is actually a hardcover sleeve that the book comes in. So you can see there's the sleeve. It's a nice hardcover. And then this is the book itself. It comes with this little, I guess, advertisement for the book, which is kind of interesting considering that you already have the book. So that's a nice, it's a protective sleeve that the book comes in. Here's the book itself. As you can see, there's kind of an embossed Nintendo controller on there. Other than that, it's pretty plain. You can see here's the binding. Playing with Power NES Classics. I'm not going to go through the whole book. I wanted to just kind of quickly flip through some of the pages. One thing that I'll note is this is the hardcover version. For both of these books, there is a softback version that you can buy that's a little bit easier on the wallet. However, I did get these for about $25 a piece, and I think that's pretty good considering what you're getting. These books are really high quality. You've got the hardcover book. There's a nice kind of soft finish to it. The pages are nice, thick, and glossy. And the content that you get in both of these books is just a lot. So it's really nice to see, books that, were so well done. And so kind of the theme of the book is to go through the history of the console, some fun facts that you may not have known about the development of the console, and then also go through kind of the history of a good bit of the games, or at least some of the games that came out for each one of these Nintendo consoles. So you can see here, here's the index right here. There is a list of all of the games that it kind of goes through. They take a decently deep dives into each one of these games. It's not a full, complete strategy guide for each game. They usually tell you about the history of the game, give you some, fun facts about it, and then it will go through a number of levels or sections to each particular title, so that you can kind of get a good idea of how the game went. So this is kind of your introduction right here. Each book has a foreword and an introduction, kind of talks about the console. Then you'll go through kind of the inside story to the console, and then you'll spend the majority of the book kind of looking through the game. So I'll just kind of flip through so you can get just a quick idea of kind of what you'd be looking at. Again, I don't have time to go through every single game, but it's really kind of cool being able to go back, learning about the story for some of these games. As you can see here, here's Metroid, learning basically how to play the game, going through kind of the items that you get in the game, and then as you kind of move forward through this particular game, you'll start to get into kind of a breakdown of the levels, some strategies, things like that. So I really enjoyed this book. Like I said, it was definitely a great buy. You learn a lot of things that you probably didn't know about these systems and the games. There was a lot of kind of backstory to the console and how it was developed, and even some of the games that I just wasn't aware of. So it was really cool kind of going back through time and learning about some of this stuff, and just kind of seeing what went into making some of these consoles and what made them so great. So you can see here towards the back there's a peripheral section where it kind of shows you the different official Nintendo peripherals that came out. And so that's a quick look at the NES version. Let me go ahead and put that aside. And then let's take a look at the Super Nintendo version. This one is also a great book. This is actually the first one that I got because I was probably a bigger fan of the Super Nintendo growing up than I was of the original Nintendo. Even though I had both, this was the one that I still consider this to this day the greatest gaming console that has ever been made. I think It is just kind of the perfect mix of, great games and good design and a great controller and visuals and audio. It's just, I don't think anything holds a candle to the original Super Nintendo. So this book also has a hardcover on it. This one's a little bit different in that the book kind of comes out from the bottom. Again, you get the same kind of advertisement for the book, as you can see here. But this book actually sits sideways and is in the shape of a Super Nintendo controller. And it's kind of hard to see, but this is all embossed. Like, all of these lines actually feel like you're touching a Nintendo controller. Like, there's actually, I don't know if I can pick that up with the camera. But these are actually lines that are kind of embedded into the cover of the book. So it kind of almost feels like you're touching like the different lines of a Super Nintendo cartridge. And so this book, like I said, opens up to the side. Again, this one I'm really impressed with the quality of these books. This one is just as good, if not even better, than the original Nintendo book. And just kind of flipping through the book here. Again, this is a companion book to the Super Nintendo Classic that came out. So you'll see a picture of that as you kind of open it up there. You're going to go through, again, a foreword, and then you'll get your introduction. And just like the Nintendo, this is going to go through kind of the same thing. It's going to talk about the origins of the console, kind of the time that the console came out. Then you're going to go through some of the titles and learn about some of the history of this particular console. You'll learn about the development of it, and then you'll go into the games. And just like with the Nintendo book, you get to go through some of the greatest games that ever came out for this system. So there's a good bit of games in here that it goes through. Your Super Marios, your Donkey Kong Countries, and your Super Punch-Outs, Metroid, Star Fox. There's even a section in here on Star Fox 2, which was an unreleased game. You kind of get to learn about the details of, Star Fox 2 and what Nintendo was thinking and why they decided not to release it. And then you get a lot of current information as well about even current games that have come out. So you'll get information about the old Star Fox games that came out for this system. But then at the back, you'll get a little bit of information about some of the newer Star Fox titles and kind of what they brought to the table. So just like the regular Nintendo version of this, you get a breakdown of all of the different games. You get a look at the peripherals. You get a lot of cool backstories. You get some fan stuff in there too. And, these are just great books. I really like them. And for the quality, you just can't beat them. They make a great addition to your retro collection if you're a collector. If not, and you just want to, you're just interested in the history of them, they're good for that too. Go ahead and go out there and I'd say purchase them. I'll put Amazon links for both of these titles in the description. But now for my review. What are my thoughts of it? So is $25 each worth it? I guess that kind of, it's determined on, how much you'll probably use this, how much you'll kind of dig in. If you're going to be somebody who's just picking it up and it'll just sit on a shelf, $25 may not be, a good investment for you. If you're somebody who enjoys learning about the consoles and these old games, and if you're watching this video, I imagine you are, then I would say definitely pick these books up. I don't know if these are ever going to become scarce or if they'll ever become collector's editions. I'm not saying that eventually they'll be worth a lot of money and you'll be able to, resell them or whatever, but for me, just going through the history of them, the quality of these books, these are probably some of the nicer quality books that I've got in my library. And this includes, non-video game type books. I mean, these are just so well made. They're so nice. You get so much information, so many cool so much cool art, so many cool graphics, a lot of cool stories that you would normally have to really scour the internet to find. You get all of that in these books. And like I said, if these ones are a little bit too pricey, they have paperback versions as well. You don't get the really nice sleeve, and you don't get the really nice kind of, the design of the hardback here. But you do get the content, and you do get it in a nice, presentable fashion. So if price is an issue, I definitely say go and get those. My thoughts on it are these are definitely worth a pickup. They're definitely cool to have and own. I would definitely recommend for anybody who's interested in this kind of stuff for $25. I think it's a no-brainer. These normally retail about $45 a piece. If you look at the, if you look at the little sheet here, you can see that they typically retail for about $45 a piece. So for $25 on Amazon, no-brainer for me. Go and get them. I spent days just flipping through the pages and reading the stories and just having a good time, just kind of remembering and getting nostalgic for a lot of these games that I kind of grew up with. So that was just a quick look at the Super Nintendo and the regular Nintendo Classic Edition books. Like I said, go ahead and get them, pick them up, take them a look, and if you already have them or if you're intending to get them, just post a comment and let me know what you thought of them, or if you like this video. Thank you very much. I appreciate you watching.